Now at 5, a new development in the case of a dog in Noel, Missouri shot with an arrow. Plus, we're going to hear from a local roofing company dealing with hail damage from yesterday's storms. And Ukrainian troops conduct drills on the border with Belarus amid concerns of a Russian invasion from that side.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
We have breaking news. Police in Noel, Missouri have arrested the suspect in the case of a dog shot with an arrow. This is KOAM News at 5. I'm Dow Quick. That man is Jeffrey Howard. Authorities have charged him with animal abuse. A probable cause statement gives some details of the case. The document says a neighbor claimed she confronted Howard about the dog that had been walking around with an arrow through its head. The neighbor says Howard admitted shooting the dog and admitted he intended to shoot the dog a second time, but the dog ran in front of a mailman's vehicle before he could take a second shot. A veterinarian has since removed the arrow and the dog is recovering. Another late developing story. Authorities have just cleared the scene of a standoff in Independence, Kansas. The Montgomery County Sheriff's Office had reported an armed person was barricaded in the 600 block of South 15th Street. Authorities asked people to avoid that area and said residents of that neighborhood should shelter in place or evacuate if possible. But within the past hour, they've released word that the scene is now safe. Some big storms last night. Let's check in with meteorologist Sam Lane.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dow. Lots of rainfall across the area. Radar is clear right now, but look at these rainfall amounts. Generally in the green, 1 inch or more. Down to the south, they had quite a bit of rain. In fact, almost 4 inches in northeastern Barton or Benton County, 2.5 in Cassville area, 3 inches south of Pineville, and also 3 inches there just south and west of Bentonville. And we also had hail over in Ottawa County yesterday, extending all the way up into Cherokee County, up towards Nevada with that one cell. Zooming in, you can see that the hail reports were quite large, especially near Narcissa, where we had 1.5 inches. And then as it moved into Ottawa, we had 1.8 inches of size on the hail as it moved through the Miami area, so causing quite a bit of activity and damage in that area. And of course, we'll have more details on our forecast coming up in just a little bit as well. Dow?
All right, we'll see you soon. Yeah, that ping pong sized hail from yesterday's storm did cause some damage, particularly in the city of Miami. A local roofing company has been busy helping with residents' damaged roofs around the city. Jason Shelton, owner of Absolute Royalty Roofing, says his group has already inspected more than 70 homes and expects to inspect some more. He says the hail was not big enough damage to go through roofs, but it did make a big impact on them. Shelton says residents can prepare for hail by looking for impact-resistant shingles.
When we go to replacing the roof from a damaged roof like this, is to look at a impact-resistant shingle, a Class 4. There are a few Class 3 shingles out there that are impact-resistant, which can take up to bigger size hail and not damage it like this.
Sheldon says with storms like this, a lot of times they can help homeowners with their insurance claims. Pitt State was feeling the music today. The university hosted its 49th annual Jazz Festival. 74 high school and middle school student bands from all across the 4 states took part. No winner is chosen, but the bands are given ratings based on their performance.
One is just the chance for them to play for the judges and clinicians, and then to get feedback from the professionals. This is, you need to do this. This was great. Hey, that was right on mark. Now you need to look for this to kind of help them improve a little bit.
The festival will end with a commemorative concert featuring the PSU Jazz Band and the Wycliffe Gordon All-Stars at 7:30. Retired Army Colonel Paris Davis, one of the first black officers in the Green Berets, received the nation's highest military honor today. On June 18, 1965, during the Battle of Bong Son in Vietnam, Davis was hit by a grenade and gunfire, but still risked his own life to save the lives of 2 of his soldiers, and then ignored an order to retreat in order to save the life of a 3rd. Davis's commanding officer, Billy Cole, immediately nominated him for the Medal of Honor, but the records mysteriously vanished not once but twice during the Civil Rights Movement. Ukrainian troops are conducting drills near the border with Belarus to protect against any new Russian invasion. It comes as the Secretary of State Antony Blinken is demanding an end to the war. Imitaz Tayeb reports from northern Ukraine.
In their first meeting since the war in Ukraine began over a year ago, Secretary of State Antony Blinken's message to his Russian counterpart was clear.
End this war of aggression. Engage in meaningful diplomacy that can produce a just and durable peace.
But until there is a lasting peace, Ukrainian forces aren't taking any chances. These drills on the northern front follow warnings the Kremlin is planning a renewed offensive in the spring. This maze of trenches was built after Russian forces crossed over here from Belarus as part of their failed push towards Kyiv last February, says this Ukrainian commander.
If Russian forces move over this border, are you ready for them?
Yes, and we've prepared a lot of presents for them, he says with a wry smile.
These trenches could be straight out of World War I, but make no mistake, these men have modern technology at their fingertips.
Another soldier demonstrates a reconnaissance drone used to scour the skies and border for any signs of trouble.
So this is inside Belarus.
But in Ukraine's east, the fighting is only intensifying, with the town of Bakhmut now nearly all under Russia's control, making protecting the north an even higher priority. Imtiaz Tayeb, CBS News, on the Ukrainian-Belarusian border.
Today, Washington's announcing its latest military aid package for Ukraine worth $400 million. The U.S. has given nearly $32 billion in weaponry to Ukraine since that invasion started just over a year ago. The House Ethics Committee has launched an investigation of Congressman George Santos. The Republican from Long Island admits lying about his resume and family history, but says he will not resign. The panel could impose a fine or a recommendation for disciplinary action. A judge in South Carolina sentenced disbarred attorney Alex Murdaugh to life in prison without parole for the 2021 murders of his wife and son. The sentence came less than 24 hours after a jury convicted him of those crimes. Still ahead, a disturbing health trend.
Cases of eating disorders are rising. I'm Wendy Gillette with what you need to know.
Plus, the latest on the potential health risk from long COVID. Those stories next in Health Watch. Topping today's Health Watch, a new study shows people with long COVID are at a risk for a range of adverse health problems, including a more than doubled risk of dying in the year following infection. Researchers compared insurance claims data for more than 13,000 adults with long COVID to almost 27,000 without. They found that almost 3% of people with long COVID died in the year following infection, compared to just a little more than 1% who did not have it. Walking 500 steps a day can greatly lower the risk of heart disease and stroke for elderly people. A study by the American Heart Association found people over 70 who walked just a quarter mile a day had a 14% lower risk of heart disease, stroke, or heart failure. While doctors say longer physical activity is recommended, the study shows even light exercise can help. This is National Eating Disorders Awareness Week, and with cases on the rise, advocates say it's time for change. Reporter Wendy Gillette has more.
Eating disorders can affect Americans of all ages, backgrounds, and genders. It's estimated over 28 million Americans will experience an eating disorder at some point in their lives, with anorexia, bulimia, and binge eating disorder being the most common. Eating disorders have the second highest death rate of all mental health disorders. Opioid use disorders are first. Eating disorders most often appear in teens or young adults, but in recent years, they're increasing among children and older adults. The COVID-19 pandemic has also had an impact. The National Eating Disorders Association says their helpline has experienced a more than 100% increase in contacts since the pandemic started. Experts at Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital say with treatment, 60% of eating disorder patients will make a full recovery. A treatment team can include an experienced doctor, dietitian, and mental health provider. Wendy Gillette, CBS News, New York.
While eating disorders are more common in females, it's estimated about 10 million males also have eating disorders. A study of retired NFL players found those who experienced concussions during their careers performed worse on cognitive tests. The analysis by Mass General Brigham showed even decades after playing, the athletes scored lower on memory, attention, processing speed, and vocabulary, highlighting the long-term effects of concussions. And men with prostate cancer aren't doing enough to monitor their cancer growth. A study in JAMA network of more than 20,000 men with low-risk cancer found active surveillance rates are rising, but are still below recommended levels. Regular surveillance is critical to successful treatment. And that is a look at today's health news. A little bit later, how Facebook is revamping its controversial cross-check moderation system.
And it looks like a nice weekend shaping up for our area. I'll let you know about that, as well as winter coming back, so you want to stay tuned. Well, we had quite a bit of rain yesterday, but once the rain has moved out, mostly sunny skies have prevailed most of this afternoon, including Seneca, Missouri, with Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. And here in Joplin, we made it up to 50 degrees today after starting out at 40, which when you average it out, it came out to right around normal for this time of year. We had almost an inch of rain at the airport, which puts us ahead for March as well as for the month or for this year. Right now, we do have some flood warnings in effect for parts of our area, and I want to talk about Spavinaw Creek right now is at 9.86 feet. It's actually set a record for this date, and it's increasing at 80 cubic feet per second right now. Also near Pineville, the Little Sugar Creek is also setting a record today for this date at 7.1 feet and is increasing at 100 cubic feet per second. And then the Roaring Springs or Roaring River State Park near Cassville, it's actually crested and is now starting to fall just a little bit at 2.04 feet on the hour. So we did have some flooding down in that area, but fortunately it's on the minor side. Temperatures right now are in the 40s to the east, where the clouds have hung in a little bit more. Out to the west, it's 60 degrees right now in Sedan. Dew points are in the 30s and the 40s across the area. And if we take a look at the SkyCam on our range line, looking pretty good. 50 degrees right now, dew point is 39, humidity 66% on a north wind at 9. In Pittsburgh, you can see the flag flying there. And temperature right now a little bit warmer, 52 degrees, and it feels like 52 with a dew point of 39 and the humidity 62% and a north wind at 6. Now, with the clear skies tonight and all the rain that we've had, we're expecting dense fog to develop later on tonight, especially in Barry County and over in Lawrence County, but we could see some valley fog developing here and there across our area. So if you're heading out in the morning, just be aware of the fog possibility, and then by afternoon, all of that should be lifted. Temperatures tonight are going to drop down into the 30s with south winds, and then as we go through the day tomorrow, we will have a weak boundary in the area, making wind direction a little bit variable, but highs will generally be in the upper 50s to around 60. Then as we go through Saturday night into Sunday, we're going to see temperatures in the 30s and the 40s with south winds returning. And then on Sunday, temperatures in the mid to upper 60s, even close to 70 out towards the west. So a pretty nice Sunday on store as well. Then as we go into Monday, here comes a cold front from the north and west with temperatures dropping behind that, 50s on Monday morning. Now, precipitation amounts on Tuesday as we go through time, we'll start to see some rain developing mainly again to the south and east across our area. But in the 8 to 14 day period, a large chunk of real estate is going to be below normal on temperatures. And when you combine that with precipitation, that means winter may be making a comeback. And I know a lot of people don't want to hear that, but here it is on the 7-day forecast. A great weekend, windy on Sunday, rain starts to move in on Tuesday, Wednesday, and then the winter mix starts on Thursday and Friday. And Dow, unfortunately, it gets worse from there. By next weekend, not this coming weekend, but next weekend, a significant winter storm possible.
Oh, I'm thinking spring will get here eventually.
Yeah.
I'm just tired of waiting. Thanks, Sam. Coming up, as electric cars become more popular, we're going to check out the rise of these electric boats. Topping today's Consumer Watch, Facebook is revamping its cross-check moderation system. The program came under fire in November of 2021 after a report from the Wall Street Journal indicated that the system shielded some VIP users, such as politicians and celebrities, from the company's normal content moderation process. Meta today said it would implement in part or in full many of the more than 24 recommendations its own oversight board made for improving that program. A credit card company is looking to track people's gun store purchases. The company behind Discover Credit Cards is the first issuer to set a date, starting in April. They say they have no plan to provide the information on what consumers buy to anyone. They're monitoring the total purchase, not specific items. Discover says it's part of their process to monitor potentially suspicious activity. Battery-powered cars are more popular than ever, and now boats are getting on board. Reporter Dina Demetrius shows us how electric watercraft are sailing toward the future.
Rising above the waters of San Francisco Bay, these electric hydrofoil speedboats make for smooth sailing.
Not only is electric, you're gliding above the water, so there is no seasickness. You don't feel the waves. It's like you're on a jet plane.
Two companies, American Navier and Swedish Candela, are leading the charge to bring electric hydrofoil speedboats to city waterways, aiming to replace gas-guzzling water taxis with these electric hover wonders.
It's like 10x cheaper than using a gas boat, so you can use it as a scalable waterborne transportation. It unlocks a potential, a new form of transportation that was never ever possible before.
But these watercraft meet bumpy seas on two issues: limited range and cost, around $400,000.
Just the amount of energy that it takes to move a boat through the water and to propel a boat through a water requires a lot of batteries. As you add more batteries, you add costs. It gets worse the larger the boat gets.
Still, Candela says it's already sold and manufactured 150 of its new C8 model.
This boat is the future of leisure boating.
It comes with some creature comforts too.
You can spend the night here if you like. It's cozy and protected.
The company also has more impactful goals on board.
The mission at Candela is really to create a big impact and reduce as much the CO2 emission.
Candela is testing out its same technology on a 30-passenger catamaran as early as this summer. Dina Demetrius, CBS News, Los Angeles.
You know, they've had wind-powered boats for quite a while. These companies are also innovating self-driving boats. Ford has announced that it's going to resume manufacturing its F-150 Lightning electric truck on March 13th. The company had halted production weeks ago due to concerns over that vehicle's battery. Ford says it's worked with the South Korean company that makes the battery to figure out the issue, though they did not disclose exactly what that problem was. The Michigan automaker has not reported issues with batteries in its other electric or hybrid vehicles. A final check of the forecast next. Up next on the CBS Evening News, we're going to check out the growing trend of building homes to house multiple generations of a family. Then on KOAM News at 6, we're going to hear more from a local roofing company seeing a surge in business following yesterday's storms. Plus, why a popular Missouri public safety jingle is rebranding. And we'll get a preview of tonight's big MIAA tournament matchup between the Pitt State and Missouri Southern women's teams. Stay with us for the CBS Evening News and then KOAM News at 6. Meet Abraham Lincoln. Scientists in Florida say this mollusk is 214 years old based on the layers on its shell. That means it's been alive since 1809. That is the same year its namesake, former President Abraham Lincoln, was born. Gulf Specimen Marine Laboratories say an AmeriCorps member named Blaine found it while walking with his family. They say it's an ocean quahog clam, a type that can live more than 200 years, as evidenced by Abraham Lincoln. I feel a lot more guilty about eating clams now. Not all species, I'm sure, live that long, but
That's
my
true.
goodness. More
Yeah,
than
that's a
200
long
years.
time.
The weather.
All right, let's take a look at the weather. Great weekend shaping up across the area. More rain next week, switching over to a winter-like situation next weekend.
Thanks for joining us. CBS Evening News is next, and of course, we'll be right back here for KOAM News at 6. We'll see you then. Let's make it a great evening.